So good evening or good morning, depending on your time. Here is Rita Mind again, the introvert corporate professional who decided to launch her own business because she likes working from home and while traveling and being free. And I was imagining that I was going to launch my business and soul clients will drop like this without doing nothing, just by magic. And storytelling looked to be
a lot of people
a nice
feel that
word
way.
for me. Storytelling looked to be a very nice word, but I didn't know what it means and how to start and how to share my story and which story to share until I met Brenda Adelman, who I present to you today, who created her own, she's an actor, she created her own one-woman show. She helps business owners and other actors to create their own one-woman or one-man show. And she's also teaching storytelling, confidence on video. She's teaching people to make videos where they share their stories with acting techniques. And she's often launching challenges. I won't tell you too much about this because I prefer to let her introduce herself. So I will let you, Brenda, introduce yourself. Tell us how you discovered your passion for acting, storytelling, and how you decided to teach it.
Okay. Great, thank you. And here and there, I see you freezing, but it is capturing the what you're saying, so that's kind of cool. Thank you so much for having me. I feel really honored by the people that I work with and that you guys are such big fans. And of course, I love helping you find the story to tell. Like when I think about when we first started and now how you are on video and like doing an interview show and your storytelling is so fun and captivating and stuff like that. So what happened for me is, yes, I come from an acting background, so I've got my 10 plus years of master classes, and also I have a successful one-woman show based on my life story, hence where the storytelling comes in, that I've performed in 4 countries, 10 states for audiences diverse as women prisoners, youth at risk, for spiritual communities, for the US military, for domestic violence coalition. So I've had a lot of success telling my story. The message of my story is about the power of forgiveness. And what I realize is I can have this ripple effect and I can be expressing myself creatively and I can have this ripple effect on my audiences based on my message. But I want to change the world in an even bigger way. I want you listening. I want my clients. I want you to know how to tap into the right story to tell and your message, your life message, so that when you share it end in a way where you're captivating. Now, I love to teach people the tools of sharing their story, especially now. So I started teaching people how to perform one-person shows and entrepreneurs how to do keynotes. And now with video, I teach my clients, how can you literally activate people in the audience by the way you share your story? How can you stand out from the crowd? How can you take an emotional story, which I'll tell my story in a second. How can you take an emotional story and not get overwhelmed by it? How can you be vulnerable, which is the catchword, you know, every guru coach says, be vulnerable, but how do you do it when you've spent a lifetime trying to shut what you went through down so you could survive? So my method is 2-pronged. It's, well, more than that, it's 5 steps, but it's finding your right story, healing from your story, which is the piece that was missing when I started telling my story. So I went back and got a master's degree in spiritual psychology. I took 2 years away because I didn't want to tell my vulnerable story and then feel like crap, or tell my vulnerable story and not have people respond the way that I know I want them to respond once I'm from a more healing place. And then I work with a lot of authors too, who know how to write a good story, but how do you present it on video so that you do interviews and you're memorable and you achieve what you want, which is, and for entrepreneurs too, stand out, help people with your message, change the world with your message, because I know for me, when I lived through what I did, feeling so alone was the absolute worst thing. So I want you to know how to take your words from the page to the stage so that you are commanding, creative, expressing yourself, and then of course how to share your story and how to monetize your story, how to craft it like a pro. My story being that my father, I don't think you said it, but you know, my father shot and killed my mother back in 1995 and married her sister. And that was an overwhelming story. That was something that I felt so damaged by until I started witnessing my story on the pages of my journal. Did not jump to forgiveness. Or when I did, I still had all this upset within me. So I teach a very specific process around forgiveness. And I learned how to be empowered by what happened to me. And so that is what I share with the audience, without taking away the emotion of it, but knowing how to share it in a way that activates you, activates my clients, and then also heals you to the very core of your being, and then grows your business and figure out what your message is, what your method is. That's what I teach my clients. And today is yet another way. I do free challenges, like Rita was saying, and I'm doing something new. I tried out. I did a storytelling festival a couple of months ago, and now this one is called Storypalooza, doing it a little bit differently. My goal is to reach millions of people. Like, I can share about forgiveness, but what's your message? And so I'm doing a 3-day event today at 1 p.m., Wednesday, the 29th of June. I'm doing a completely free workshop that you'll be able to join when you join Storypalooza, completely free, on how to get out of your own way, right? Because my clients come to me often having wanted to tell their story anywhere between 5 to 7 years, and for some people decades, and then within a couple of months, well, 6 weeks sometimes, or a couple of months, they're sharing their story confidently, not just like, oh, I'm going to put it out there and then disappear for 2 years because I'm embarrassed or ashamed or I haven't dealt with my stuff like I did, right? I teach everything, give you a shortcut so you don't have to disappear. Instead, you can feel fully embodied and own your story. But I'm going to deal today with the objections a lot of people have, like, what is my family going to think? I'm afraid if this person sees it, then they're going to be angry at me. Or what about the dynamic of the family? Or I'm afraid because I'm overwhelmed. I don't know if people will listen to me. So today's going to be really important to set the stage for also then the workshop tomorrow, which is tomorrow we'll be jumping on Zoom. You'll be jumping on Zoom with me, and I'll be able to take your very specific questions so that you find the right story to start with. Deal with the emotions that are in there. How do you monetize it? How do you make a bigger impact? And then today, Wednesday, so the workshops are today at 1 and tomorrow at 1 Pacific Standard Time. And then today, following the workshop at 2:30 p.m. Pacific, that's 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm really excited to gift you, whoever signs up for Storypalooza, a ticket to see a 15-minute version of my one-woman show, My Brooklyn Hamlet, completely for free. And then on Thursday and Friday of this week, I'm going to give you tips, tools, how to be confident on video, how do you be the most impactful storyteller, and I'm inviting you to go live inside my Facebook group, up to 5 minutes telling your story.
This is so nice to have the opportunity to see your one-woman show.
Thank you.
Happy.
Thank you. And I think you may have seen it, right? You saw the 15-minute version?
I saw this one, I think, and I booked it. I saw it online. You just said that you have performed in several countries in Europe and US. And I saw it on my screen on the virtual stage.
Pretty cool for
virtual
people to
screen.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, you know, because I also have longer versions. A couple of theaters in LA and San Diego filmed my show last year for a 3-camera shoot. So sometimes I sell tickets to that. This 15-minute version was, I mean, for entrepreneurs, it's great for you to see what I did, because there was a storytelling festival out of New York City. They said I had to give 15 minutes. My show is normally 60 minutes. I edited it, which is what I help clients do too. I figured out what 15 minutes to put together, and I filmed it in my home office, submitted it, and it was accepted, and they sold tickets for it. I have it now. So I'm offering it to people who sign up for Storypalooza so that you can take a look at it and be inspired by it. See how you might be able to tell your story in a new, fresh way.
Great, cool. And what about those who didn't find up to now Storypalooza, the challenge? Will they be able to watch your trainings, your videos, the one-woman show, My Brooklyn Hamlet?
Oh, you mean for like if people watch the replay after this is over?
Till the end, till the end of the week or something like this?
Oh, how long can they? Yeah, there'll be a limited time replay for everything as long as you sign up for Storypalooza, but not after the fact. It is only this week. I haven't decided yet, but there'll probably be replays until probably through the end of the weekend. Same thing with my show. I will take it down since it is something I usually sell. And then of course, this Thursday and Friday, the 30th, June 30th and July 1st is when you can go live. And then you won't be able to go live after that. So I encourage you to jump on the bandwagon and actually make a bigger impact, because my group is a big group. You go in there and you tell your story and you have no idea who you can help when you get out of your own way. And that's why today the workshop's going to be about getting out of your own way. So when you sign up for Storypalooza, you'll know where to go, when to go, where the links are, where the Zoom link is, where I'm going to be posting things. And then if you're watching this later on, what I suggest is just request to join my group, Soul Story Tribe, because that's where I announce everything and where you can reach me and stuff like that. That's Facebook group.
I will add the link to Storypalooza, and also for those who watch it in a few months, maybe there are people who will watch our interview within a few months. I will also add the link to your group.
Great, thank you. And also, everyone, please feel free, no matter when you watch this, to ask questions, make comments to Rita or I, because I'll come back. Like, tag me and I'll come back and I'll see it. So yeah, thank you, Rita.
Of course. And I wanted to say, I know that my audience is mainly introvert persons and also extroverts, but when you are introvert, it is said that you enjoy spending time on your own, that you are a little bit afraid in front of the camera. I have to admit, I was too. Fortunately, I got used to some Facebook Live challenges a few years ago. And now I really enjoy sharing my stories, because there are frustrating introvert stories I healed from. And now I so much enjoy helping and inspiring other introverts. For example, when I was, I think, to the most down level in my life, I wanted to be an influencer, to start a blogging project as an influencer. And there came an ex-boyfriend telling me, Rita, you are not made to be a business owner because you are introvert. If you want to be a business owner, you have to go in the middle of the street, jump on a stone and shout out loud to everybody that I have products to sell. Come and get them. And he said, if I'm not doing this, I'm not allowed to be a business owner.
Wow. Well, he's gone, but you said ex-boyfriend.
And I'm sure I wouldn't have attracted nobody. No soul clients coming to me this way. And it's important because introverts love working from home, love working while traveling. They love freedom. Mm-hmm. They are very creative.
I think video is really great for
what's the voice that sharing your stories, and video is a good thing. Well, I have to admit, I was a little bit afraid of the camera, but I enjoyed telling my stories.
Yeah, well, once you know how to tell it right? I have a very specific technique. Once you know that your story is right on, and hopefully, this is always my intention when I'm teaching my storytelling method, my soul story method, I I know I don't only tell you like what to do, I'm getting it from you. That's why everybody's story is so different. It's not a formula. There's a structure, but once you know that you have a good story and you're telling it in a captivating way, of course you're going to love doing it. It's like anything in life. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to be insecure. So like a lot of coaches are like, just go live, you'll get better. Well, no, bullshit. Like maybe you'll get more comfortable, but if you don't have like, okay, this is what you do, and this is where you look on the camera, and this is what you do with your background. You know what I'm saying? There are things to make you feel confident versus just going live. You know, that's a very long path if you decide to like, what are they doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it can be very quick. And I'm going to give tips.
You can go live and cry and make other people cry, and nobody gets anything.
Right. If you're not sharing it with an intention underneath that is for upliftment or healing, or like you're expressing yourself, but you're not just putting it on, you're actually being real. There's a great thing about crying that I tell some of my clients, especially the ones that speak for stage. It's like, or, you know, you're telling a really big story. And I learned this in one of my acting classes in Los Angeles, like real people try not to cry. Actors try to cry. And what it just means is that if you ever looked at a news clipping and someone is being authentic, they might have something they're talking about, but they're not trying to cry, whereas an actor will be like, ah! You know what I'm saying? So it's learning the balance so that you're truthful and you're real, but you're also getting to the place where you're not flat. A lot of people tell their stories a lot, and then they're also flat because they've told their story so much instead of giving the audience what they came for, something authentic. And those are all the things I teach. And I will be giving tips on how to be better on video during workshop, the Storypalooza, because I want everybody to shine when they are telling their story Thursday and Friday in my group.
And it's possible.
I mean, you can get a backstage pass if you want access to me on Thursday to get specific coaching on your story, but everything else is, you know, completely free to watch the show and things like that.
This is a great gift, especially for introverts who can find a safe space to share their stories.
Exactly, in my group versus on your profile. Yeah.
This is what I invited you. I know that it's very important for introvert entrepreneurs. And just before closing this interview, do you have something more to add?
You know, I always say, be bold and be brave and tell your story, because your story is important. Learn how to tell it in a way that honors yourself so that you're a pro when you're saying it. There's a difference between telling your story for some friends who know you really well and want to hear what you're saying than to share your story in your business and to grow it or to get paid. So come learn the techniques and come into this safe space so that you can learn to be more of yourself. Your story can literally change someone's life, many people's lives that you don't even know, and empower you as you're sharing.
Thank you, Brenda.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming here and for this surprising interview that I thought about it at the last moment. It's a surprise. I was about to have one interview per week, but now I have two. So let's see what will happen next week.
And thank you, because that's one of the other things I want to say. So Rita is also in my membership community, Soul Story Lounge, and I have the most amazing clients, and I think we have the most amazing group because we're all so supportive of each other. Again, it's a place for non-judgment. It's a place to try things out, and it's really a place to support each other. And you know, that the doors to that are not always open, but I may talk about that during Storypalooza at some time. So that is literally, it's like all of us, right, in there, like, I'm doing this now. Can I have some support? Like, where online do you really get that? So I really appreciate you last minute being like, let me interview you and tell more people. I really, really appreciate that, Rita.
It's a pleasure. And also for introvert entrepreneurs and extrovert ones.
Like me, I'm ambivert, but yes. Yeah. I love video for introverts. Like, I think it's actually made for introverts once you learn the techniques, you know.
I told in one of my videos, no introvert is 100% introvert. I love interviews. I love sharing my stories on videos. I'm preparing some kind of surprise that I can tell nothing about. It will be related to my workshops that will require me to go out of the box.
Great. That's awesome. I've already seen you go out of the box. I just love your storytelling. It's so fun. Like, I love watching what you do. So we are definitely not defined by who we think we are or were.
So let's see in the next videos, in Storypalooza, the next challenges and next surprises.
I can't wait to see your 5-minute video. Yes, and I'll be watching everybody's video in there. I'm super excited about that. That's Thursday and Friday. Thanks so much, everybody. And I hope I see you in Storypalooza and in my audience for my Brooklyn Home.
It's a pleasure.